Здравствуйте. Привет. Иу. Ничего не знаю, я ровно начала. Задержка просто. Вот, да. Вам кажется? Какое 200 рублей за штуку? Это, во-первых, это нагло. Особенно то, как ты врешь. Ладно, сейчас я вам включу какую-нибудь детскую музыку без авторских прав. У меня все хорошо. У вас как дела? Чатик, мой любимый. У меня сегодня такое хорошее настроение. О. Давай за 1000, давай мне прям в донаты. Вот. Как в идее. Я снова запуталась во всех эмоциях. О, смотрите. Он прям проглядывает. Ой, 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 ой. Вы ничего не видели. Настроение же. Нет настроения, нет стрима. Есть настроение, есть стрим. Блин, реально. И ведь правду говорит. Прав... Это... Хорошо. Брат. Да вот. Вот так вот. Не. Мы посадим его на плечо. Блин. Какая... Фёдор, не пишите. Понимаете? Вы мне мешаете. Музыки нету. Но вы держитесь. Мария? Оба. Так, ладно. Не живите. Да. Так тоже можно. Ой, как это сделать? Как управлять трансляцией? Господи, помогите. Потерялась. Я потерялась. Эти звуки потерялась. Это на самом деле я тебе пишу. Да. Не слышу. Музыка не лечит, все ясно. Да, как вы узнали. Ужас. Так. Блин, а как тут, типа... Помогите. Я нашла, как это сделать. Захочу стрим. Да. Прикиньте, ужас. Так, ням-ням. Как ваши дела? Рассказывайте, как ваше утро проходит? Как это, вот, да. Дети не спят, детей съели. Господи, взгляд алкаша Валеры какой-то. Ща, подождите. Оба. Что? Да, утро. Как оно проходило? Расскажи о донате недавнем. Недавний донат. Какой? Я не знаю никаких донатов. Я да. Вот. А ты не да. Да, утро. И плевать, что 5 вечера. Да, всем пофиг. Вот. Это что? За год, конечно же, посмотрим аналитику. Ай. Так. Нефиг возмущаться. Что? Кто? Пока вредные речи переносят стримы, буду донатить личи. Спасибо! Спасибо за донат! Ой. Я сейчас так поделала, у меня голова закружилась. Спецэффекты на заднем плане. Ага. Вот. Качается. Да. Тебя это не должно касаться. Это мой род. Понимаешь? Мое лицо. Ща. Надо. Ща приду. Угу. О. Ну, вроде нормально. Вроде неплохо. Ша, она такая снимает челюсть и заменяет на другую по ее словам. Да! Как ты знала, что я так делаю? Нет. Тебя не съедят. Так. Подожди, мне кажется? Нет, мне не кажется. Нет, мне кажется, я в твоей голове живу. Что? Здравствуйте. Хле. Я не умею читать, простите. Простите, пожалуйста. Я научусь. Честное слово. Так. Я в своем голове... А, это я уже читала. Идите внимательно. А, хорошо. Здравствуйте, просто хлеб. О, нет. Мы тут, короче, сегодня плюшками балуемся. Играем в какую-то игру. Вот. Там, короче, какая-то игра, которую я не буду слушать. Я не знаю, как я туда попала. Честно. Меня там забулили. Сказали, давай, проходи. Ужас, да? О, здорово. Так. Блин, надо сейчас хотя бы ее открыть. Опа, готово. А почему на этот фон? Что? Не перекидывай за меня. Из Ростова. Так. В общем, нет. Игры. Вот. Перешли мы, значит. Что? Что? Какой захват экрана? Ужас. Ужас. Представляете? Ужас. Нет, я не буду чекать личку ТГ. Капец. Ну-ка. Надеюсь, у меня, как всегда, ничего не сработает, да? А, а, Я хотела чихнуть. Но у меня не получилось. Оба! Ура! Так. Ой, нифига у меня тут тиктоки открылись. Не надо. А то часть у меня опыт вылетит. Кого? Ладно, хорошо. У меня эпичная музыка для прохождения этой игры. Понимаете? Так должно быть. Ладно, пойдет. Ой. У меня тут сегодня вообще... Я не помню, что у меня вообще... На китайском, конечно. Я это... Вот. Ой. У меня крыло обрезало, прикиньте. Ужас. А где картофельный язык? А я картофельный язык не знаю. Я знаю кабачковый. Перетащите ползунок, пока компьютер не будет едва виден. Ну, типа вот так. Вот. Что меня замутили? Тебя не мутили. Текущее. Текущее. Блин. Так. И вот так вот. Специальные настройки можно выбрать в главном меню. Окей. Опа. Типа хоррор. Нет. Китай 5 вечера, да. Как ты узнала? О. Офигеть. Ну-ка. Да. Автоходьба. Хорошо. Русский. Начнем. Игра тролль. Да. Наверное, потому что ты в Китае. Стэнли работал в большой компании на должности сотрудника номер 427. Ой, меня заносит. А можно я как-то, типа... Это не чувствительность камеры. Это что это? Юнипон. Сессия. Пить меньше надо. И белочки в голове не селились. И не заносила. Все его коллеги пропали. Что бы это могло значить? Чтобы пойти в переговорные, может он что-то пропустил. Нет. Нет, это повлияет. А вдруг они под столом прячутся? Вдруг в ящике каком-нибудь этом. Я бы туда залезла, да. Я туда не хочу. Я его не выключала. О, я хочу забрать себе кружку. Опа. А в смысле? Надеюсь, это закулисье какое-нибудь будет. Не понял. Мне туда, что ли? Ужас. Все нормальные на корпоратив ушли, он типа остался поработать челлендж 24 часа в офисе. Не хочу. Визуальный я слишком гений. Блин. Это что? Ладно. Дети захватывают звук. Да, представляете? Ужас. Нет. Там работает компьютер, выключите. Там никого нет. Угу. Это документ? Да. Дайте! Пожалуйста. Такая чудесная комната, что пусть все коллеги исчезли загадочным образом. И пошла еда за подгузники. Да, представляете? Ужас. Как так? Окей. К этому моменту... Левую дверь. Так плохо следовал инструкциям, что непонятно, как его до сих пор не уволили. Да. Дверь закрылась. Кажется, что-то неправильно понял. Я не враг тебе, правда. Я понимаю, что трудно вот так взять и довериться незнакомцу. Но учти, что вся история крутится исключительно вокруг тебя. Есть кое-что, на кого ты наплевал, Стэнли. Кое-что, о ком ты забыл. Хватит принимать каждое решение в одиночку. Я прошу для нее... Для нее это кого? На искупление, Стэнли. Хорошо. Хорошо. Это она, Стэнли. Это типа моя любовь будет, да? Ну вот, готов сюжет для любовь, смерть, работа. Осталось найти кого-нибудь, кто рисует. Достаю. Так, вот так. Уже бегу. Открываю. Заходи, расскажешь мне, как прошел твой день на работе. Ах ты. Да. Я... Стой. Стэнли. Я хочу, чтобы ты кое-что осознал. Заходи, я покажу тебе, что тут на самом деле происходит. О смерти человека по имени Стэн... Скучный парень, у него есть абсолютно бесполезная работа, и каждая нажатая им кнопка напоминает о незначительности его существования. Я не буду нажимать эту кнопку. По-моему, нет, это не мужчина, ладно. Посмотрите на него. Нажимает кнопки, делает, что говорят. Теперь обедает. Нет! Возвращается на работу. Дай. Выбрал эту жизнь. Я ничего не выбирала. Нет. Я не буду нажимать на В. Полно удивительных приключений. Сидя за столом, Стэнли мечтал о невероятных походах в неизведанные земли. О новых чудесах. Чудесах, хорошо. Я же говорю, играет роль. Да вообще, я не хотела нажимать на эту кнопку, меня заставили. Это же нечестно. Да? Это нечестно. R, чтобы посмотреть ТВ. Я сейчас его так включу, мне все равно. Я не хочу его слушать. Начал фантазировать о своей работе. Сначала он представил, что в один прекрасный день он вышел из кабинета и обнаружил, что его коллеги, его начальник, да вообще все здания внезапно и бесследно исчезли. Невероятно любопытно. У меня нет детей, у меня нет жены. Что делать? Дальше он представил, что пришел к двум открытым дверям, что мог зайти. Наконец-то выбор. Что было за каждой из дверей. Наполняло его радостью. Я что? Он начал выполнять его разными дорожками и развилками. Это превращается в мой кабинет? О, ну все по кайфу. Назвал это все The Stanley Parable. Это была чудесная фантазия, и он переживал ее снова и снова. А потом снова и снова и снова. Он так хотел, чтобы она никогда не кончалась, и чтобы он всегда был свободен. Ведь в конце кого-то нового пути точно есть ответ. Разве не так? Если только сыграть еще всего разок. У меня нет жены! Ты мне это только что сказал! Это потому что, типа, эта часть превращается в кабинет. У меня нет жены. Да откуда ему взяться? Ну вот, видишь, я же говорила. На самом деле, он все-таки же нажимает кнопки, как нажимал и раньше. Ничего не изменилось. Я не хочу нажимать кнопки. Какая жизнь настоящая. Ладно. А ты отодвинешь? А я все объясню. Медленно убивает себя. Да, это так и есть. Я уже... I hate Mondays. Да? Чтобы утром оказаться... 10 секундой. Он сам убивает себя. Себя. Ай. Видимо, никак. Уж точно не так, как мне бы хотелось. Но я не устанавливаю правила, я лишь играю отведенную мне роль, совсем не как Стэнли. Какие ж мы разные. Я вынужден, я должен. Раз он поймет, может быть. Нет! И Стэнли нажал на кнопку, и я... Я умерла? Я типа умерла? Это могло значить. Упоминание о встрече. А компьютеры кто выключать будет? Опа. Угу. А если это что-то да значит? Угу. Капец. Эти я отключу. Может, все-таки стоит сходить? Типа, туда. Хорошая идея. Мне она не нравится. Нашел влево. И тут никого не оказалось. Хорошо. Я сходила вниз, я испугалась, я ушла. Опа. Утаить. Особо секретный код. 2, 8, 4, 5. Что? Я ничего не вижу. Хорошо. Тут все изменения что-то да значит. Мне страшно. Все как-то странно. Шевелились чувства. В природе своей работы. Мне страшно. Здесь же не должно быть вроде ничего страшного, да? Телевизион. Слишком много. Я не могу. Не будет. Вот, хорошо. Мне туда. Внизу так темно.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility.
А так и должно было быть.
Back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos.
Твиттер кучу фоток, думали, что такие умные. Ну, просто молодцы. Найти игру. Это...
You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content.
Материал.
More content, more content, more.
Мне страшно.
I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this?
Мы написали новую музыку специально для этого участка. Такой нет нигде в игре. Игра только для тебя. Вот такой ты особенный. Это трек. Я немного не понимаю. О! Да! Ja, we did it! Jump. Мне нравится. Надо было так рисковать. Это был баг. Теперь это концовка. Да, концовка. Я тебя верю. Верю, что ты сможешь преодолеть барьер. Пойти за мечтой. Перему ничего не значит. Отлично. We did it. Good job. We did it. Good job. We did it. We did it. Good job. You did it. You did it. Did it. Немножко на стрим. Хорошо. Поздно включил, блин. И снова здесь. Это, ну, получается...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Мне нужна следующая комната. Я тут... Ага.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Прости, пожалуйста, но я пойду в
This
это.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Блин,
Wow. Yes. This
у меня
room.
появилась идея.
What a beautiful
Ща,
room.
Сейчас,
What a
сейчас,
gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Угу.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating
Все
that even
исчезло
though all
загадочным
your
образом.
co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Да.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Да.
It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was
Реплик не
no more,
было.
he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Да. Ладно.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on
Вот
track.
тут. Хорошо. Нет. Ладно. Стоит
Yet
все-таки.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave
Ой.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ага. Ага. Я ничего не понимаю. А. Хорошо.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Подожди. Ладно.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His
А
boss
там
would think
все
he was crazy.
перевернуто.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason
Блин.
at all. None of it
Я
made any
немного
logical
не
sense.
понимаю.
And as Stanley
Здорово.
pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a
Это всего
dream.
лишь сон. Да.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Но
He
ведь...
wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon, I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons.
Блин.
I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
Что я
How was he
делаю?
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now
Почему я
the
хожу
voice was
кругами?
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course,
Это был
this
не
was
сон.
not a
Какой
dream.
сон?
How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as
А вот
awake right now
и
as he's ever been in
комната.
his life. Now, hearing the voice
Машина.
speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment
Yes,
ago?
yes.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could
Давно в
just...
эту игру не играл.
He would
И
prove
как
it. He would prove that he
игра
was in
была
control,
тогда?
that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt
Капец,
the cool weight of
ужас.
the blanket on his skin,
Что делать?
the press of the mattress on his back,
Я
fresh
сплю.
air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through
Мне
with
нравится,
this dream.
что это
I
фигня.
wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please.
Ну-ка.
It's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Хорошо.
My life is normal.
Я
I
поняла
am
тебя.
normal.
Кто ты?
Everything will be fine.
Ой,
I
нифига.
am okay.
Нет. Ты не окей.
Stanley
Chakra.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Ага.
This is the story of a woman named
Это история
Mariella.
женщины по имени Мариэлла.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Написала
She
сама.
arose, got dressed,
Ага.
gathered her belongings, and walked to her place
А.
of work. But on this particular
Спасибо.
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town
Сам собой
talking and
крича.
screaming to himself, and then collapsed
Там
dead on the
замертво
sidewalk.
упал.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an
помощь.
ambulance, for just a few
Несколько
brief moments, she
мгновений
considered the strange
попался.
man. He was obviously crazy. This
Это
much she
она знала
knew.
точно.
Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
Убедить
And in that
сумасшедший.
moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be
Нормально.
normal. I am sane.
Нормально.
I am
Ага,
in control of my
ага.
mind. I know what is real
Да.
and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ага. Мне нравится, как я свечусь. И мне это не нравится одновременно. Нет. 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 Among Us. Тун-тун-тун-тун-тун-тун-тун. Та-та-там. Пам-пум. Нет, я не хочу туда снова.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
А вдруг в этот раз все сработает, включится.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Хорошо. Новый контент. Хорошо. О, сейчас. Нет, не могу чихнуть. Блин. Ну. Угу.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Ну. Реально. Что? Да. Что-то...
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
С какой стороны откроется? По-любому, как в нафе с этой.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if
Нет.
Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Там все белое. Это нормально? Хорошо. Сделаем вид, что это нормально.
All right, let's see it. The jump circle?
Ай, я дожму вас. Блин. Эй, а можно еще? Нет? Ну, ладно.
Is that it?
И всё.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Ты так уверен? Хорошо.
Goodness. Another
Точно,
elevator.
еще один
Stanley,
лифт.
I have
Да.
to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Так себе.
It's just elevators and jumping.
Новыми
Is this what
материалами,
passes for
да.
exciting new content? If this
Именно.
is new content, then I could just read you the whole
Давай
dictionary. There's
просто
20 hours of
прочитать.
new content right there.
Материал.
Hell, I could count to 30 trillion.
миллиардов
You could put that on the box.
читать.
The Stanley Parable Ultra
Тысяча
Deluxe,
часов
now with
материал.
over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more.
Точ-
Very good. Yes.
Надеюсь,
I
там
knew
еще
there
раз...
had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Я надеялась...
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Меня... Такая божественная, слушаешь? Ой, привет! Ну, кстати, Демокс нет, да. Это я где?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Хорошо, я тебя послушаю. Это было зря, да? Наверное. А я могу не шепотом говорить? Могу?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
А туда точно можно заходить. Слушайте. Я не уверена. Ой, ладно. Была не была.
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Вау. На улицу не выхожу, хотя бы там. Что? Кексы? Вау. Вперед.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Why? Why? О. Это я. Тут даже птички. $1. О май гаш. Как? Много всего. А я хочу сесть сюда. Там пианино. Даже пианино не дают пройти.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
Прикольно.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
Я не могу
"Where
сюда
so many
сесть.
games that aspire to be more than games end up
Больше,
less than
чем
any
игрок.
form of art,
Именно.
Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every
Кого?
game ever created." Did you hear that,
Ну,
Stanley?
похоже.
Every game ever created. That's how grand and
который-
all-encompassing
Нет.
the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every
Я хочу-
game ever created. It was Skyrim,
Была
it was
Persona
Persona
3.
3,
Она
it
была
was
всем
all of them,
сразу.
and now it's
Теперь
nothing.
что?
It's no
Теперь-
games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk.
Мне нравится
now,
этот рисунок.
a lifeless
Посмотрите.
husk
А,
with an
раз,
hour
два,
of new
три,
elevator
четыре.
content.
Я так испугалась. А, можно? Да. Хорошо. Нельзя. Это... Ва. О май гад.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games
Ну,
and one that
давайте,
offers
чатик.
some of the
Что
most
мы делали
enjoyable,
сегодня утром?
surprising and
Что
rewarding
вы сегодня
choices
кушали?
I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of
Как ваше
10. Don't you get
настроение
it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
Это повтори. А я мог... Подожди-ка. Е. Ага. Ага. Я хочу... Почему я должна... Опа.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Зона памяти.
What's this? What's down here?
Ага.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Не думаю.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Ладно. Мне же не туда, да. Хороший.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is
Game
good,
the хороший.
for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh,
Нет,
goodness.
нет, нет,
This is
нет.
actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being
Ну,
rather
конечно.
terse to begin with.
Да,
You can't know
так
how
и
much
есть.
fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it...
Погнали мы
Well,
их
I always
убьем.
thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
И
Dear.
мстим.
What an awful memory to have to hold
Да,
on to.
именно.
These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track
Этот
record.
чел
I
классный.
feel
Зря
like
я
a
не
failure.
хотела его
like I
слушать.
let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable
Такая
isn't quite as sterling as
безупречная,
I always
мне казалось.
remembered.
И дождь закончился. Я хочу туда.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the
Приходится.
narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then
Нормально.
maybe
Он
letting you
утонул
skip
вообще.
ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll
Нет.
pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the
Нет.
push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more
А я-
listening to
а
me
я могу
rambling on and on
не
and on. No,
нажимать на
no,
эту
no, no.
кнопку?
The Stanley Parable is a
Мне
game for the
жалко.
people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all
Нет.
until the end
Нет,
of time,
нет,
at which
нет,
time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah
А
blah
тут
blah
что?
blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
Я не
It
нажму
went
эту
on for
кнопку.
nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday,
Придётся
here and
не
there,
раз.
forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's
мысли,
right at your fingertips to go
нажатие, и
poof,
вот уже
and it's all
всё
over. Oh, I
закончилось.
can't wait to see what Cookie
Cookie
9 will say about
9.
this, and whether they'll edit the
Посмотреть,
rating of their
изменит ли он
Steam review,
оценку на
or at
Steam.
least change some of the wording, perhaps.
Свои
To be
формулировки.
honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
А
I
можно?
guess I should become better educated on
Я не
exactly how
знаю.
Steam
Я
works.
тоже не шарю.
Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at
Я
any
тебе даже не
rate, I do
отвечаю.
suggest that we... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been
Блин,
frozen there.
Прости,
I don't know why the
пожалуйста.
skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting
Всё
longer. And my
дольше?
God, there's no way out of the room.
Ой.
Stanley, the door is gone.
Я
It's completely
украду.
gone. I've looked
Что
at
так?
it from every
Можно?
angle. I've checked every one of those walls a
лампы
thousand
нет.
times.
Её тут не
And
было?
there's no door, Stanley.
Или...
There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a
Прош...
week.
Неделя.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me?
Я не могу.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
Блин. Орут. Помогите. Убивает. Что? Я... Что?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of
Он
others.
слишком много болтает. Прости, пожалуйста.
The end is never the end, is never
Это не конец, 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 это не конец. Ему не надоело. Но... Меня затопит, да? Блин. Ой. Почему все так? Не понял. О! Помогите. Хорошо, я поняла. Ура! Травка. Деревья. Красота. На голос. Фу. Ягодки. Я не шарю, простите. Я не травоядная. Что? Я... я все так делаю. Просто я немного... Где голос? Я по нему соскучилась. А... Голос вернется. Да. Ладно.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
Ничего.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
А если... Да. Нет.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
Никого не
disbelief,
оказалось.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Просто
office,
вперед.
hoping he might find an answer there.
Я не буду ничего трогать.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
Блин.
boss's office.
Choose. Я не отражаюсь. Угу. О, кайфарик какой! Он поет. Я не понимаю, что он поет. И ног у меня нет. Ну, ладно. Без ног тоже прожить можно. Да? Верно? Надеюсь. Кнопку. Не понял. Я так долго ждала, чтобы приехать на тот же этаж. Нет.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk,
Я не понял,
pulling books off the shelf,
почему это
looking
так всё
behind
работает?
paintings, desperate for clues to his
Ну-ка.
situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be?
Опа.
In fact, this keypad
так
guarded the
пойдёт.
terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2,
But
8,
of
4,
course,
5.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ладно.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into
Я
the newly
опять
opened
сюда.
passageway.
Я снова здесь. А я не хочу быть снова здесь. Как Не, назад, обратно. А,
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his
Его-
violent death.
я тебе не верю.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Нет,
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort
Да,
to walk forward
я
and
пойду
willingly
дальше.
confront his death.
Да. Погибель. Что?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched
Идём,
closer
идём.
and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no
Нет.
consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the
Нет.
bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the
Я даже
eyeballs
прыгать
of
не
a blind
могу.
man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent
Краткой,
end to his brief and shallow
никчёмной
life.
жизни.
Farewell, Stanley.
Нет. Нет, нет, нет.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral
Подожди такую
instant,
секунду.
Stanley was
Машина
obliterated
разделила
as
каждый
the
косточек
machine
в теле
crushed
Стэнли,
every bone in
мгновенно
his
убив
body,
его.
killing him instantly.
Что? Я...
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley
игра
would restart the game
вернется в свой
back in his
кабинет
office, as
и
alive as ever.
прежнего
What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
рассказчик.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance,
Для вас
death
заранее.
becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now?
О,
Do you see that
две
Stanley
двери.
was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Что за... Угу. Шкафчики с бумагами. Хорошо. Нет, я туда не пойду. Капец. Мне. Подземная часть.
It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But
Ужас.
of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next...
Офисные часы. Свобода. Стоп. Ага. А я случайно... Рассказчику. Тут на самом деле много всего. Ладно. Я пойду туда. Нет, я не пойду туда. Где выход? В смысле? А, вот это? А, ну да.
Oh, look at these two.
Ну, эти
How
двоих
they wish to destroy one another.
хотят
How they
управлять
wish to
друг
control
другом.
one another. How they both wish to be
Как-
free. Can you see? Can you see how
Они друг
much they
другу не
need one
нужны.
another? No,
Я
perhaps not.
думаю, иногда главное глазами
Sometimes
не
these things
увидеть.
cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can
Как?
stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit.
Uh.
There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Мне действительно это надо
Choose
сделать.
it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let
Так и надо. На самом деле так это задумано, да. Вот. Ай, господи. Блин. Я немного...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Не, братанчик, сегодня мы туда не идем. Нет.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Нет.
doors, this was not the correct way to the
Не-а.
meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Не
Perhaps he
пойду.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge
Нет.
was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ладно.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
А я могу? Нет, не могу, блин.
Yet there was not a single person here
Как мне
either.
казалось.
Feeling
Я
a wave
знаю.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
Ладно.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Нет, тогда не ладно. Нет, там это машина, я не хочу к машине. Она меня бесит. Там ходить надо было. А теперь можно? Теперь мне можно? Ладно. Привези меня на то же место. Спасибо.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That
Обращайся.
kind of anxiety isn't
А ведь
healthy.
спешить
So he
время.
relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Edge. О май гаш, какая классная. Вау. Спасибо, мой хороший. Прям настроением поднимается. Чувствуете?
Feeling
Поднимается
soothed and
настроение.
rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ой. 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 Куда ты? Ай. Мне когтями своими шляткими ногу хотят раздербанить. Представляете, чат? Ой. Ужас. Блин.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Нет.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Хорошо.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply
Жить
had
и
too much to
жить,
live
да.
for.
И снова сюда.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to
Куда
himself.
мне
Did he
идти?
have the strength to find out?
Привет. How are you, личурка? Сама такая. Привет. У меня все хорошо. У тебя как? А теперь мне как выпасть?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature
Так.
revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally
Опа.
monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
А вот тут я вроде не была.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept
Свою
it blindly?
судьбу. Мне тоже хорошо вроде. Нужно рисовать заказы, но я не могу себя заставить.
No. He
Сочувствую.
refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
Ну,
Never.
нет.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had
Правда,
he
нет.
truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and
Раз
for
и
all.
навсегда. А может мне типа... Я вроде поняла, что делать. Вроде. 1. Я немного не вижу, что тут. Мне нужно наверх. Вон там кнопка. тут я пройти не могу же, да? Там что-то видно было. Я не понимаю. Ладно. А, тут надо было. Их нормально. Сейчас смотрю, они вообще смол. Всем в чате привет. Да, привет. Блин. Что делать? Помогите. System Power.
And when at last he found the source of the room's
Питание.
power,
Да.
he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it
У меня
stood
есть
for.
идея. Ладно, я послушаюсь его. Но в следующий раз я нажму «Он». Я это
Blackness
включу.
and a rising chill
Холодок
of
сомнений по
uncertainty.
спине.
Was it over?
Все кончено.
Yes.
Да,
He had
он
won.
победил.
He had defeated
Он
the
одолел
machine,
машину, освободился от чужих
unshackled
приказов.
himself from someone else's command. Freedom was
Свобода
mere
была
moments
совсем
away.
рядом.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay
Думал, сколько
unsolved.
загадок остались
Where had his
нерешенными.
co-workers gone? How
Куда
had he been
девались
freed from the machine's grasp? What
железные
other
машины?
mysteries did this strange building
Скрывала
hold?
это
But as
странное
sunlight
здание.
streamed into the chamber, he realized
всё не
none of this
важно.
mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but
Не
happiness.
знаю, даже не
Perhaps
власть,
his goal had not been to understand,
а
but
просто
to let
жить.
go. No longer would anyone
Я
tell
же
him where to
поняла.
go, what to do, or how to feel.
И что
Whatever
чувствовать.
life he lives,
И
it
уже
will be
выбор будет
his.
за ним.
And that was all he
Этого было
needed to
достаточно.
know.
Все остальное
It was
было
perhaps
неважно.
the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the
Хорошо.
open door.
Не могу, дверь еще не открылась.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon
Прохладное
his
касание
skin,
ветра, свободы и
feeling of
бесконечные
liberation,
возможности,
the immense
лежащие перед
possibility
ним.
of the new path before him. This was exactly the
Все
way,
было именно так,
right
как и
now,
должно было
that
быть.
things were meant to happen. And Stanley was
Стэнли...
happy.
Стэнли был счастлив. Нифига я светлая стала. Ачивка. Пройдите игру. Ага.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open
Ща
books, this
хочу
was not
нажать
the
на
correct way to the meeting
другую
room, and
кнопку.
Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Или может... Снова туда.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Нет.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Окей. У меня выбора нет.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute?
Нет! Открой мне
Let's
дверь.
see, we went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Сюда.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Нет.
Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense,
Нет.
we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Нет.
And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay,
Нет.
from the top.
Я повторю свою ошибку. Давай, пока.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait,
Что?
what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
Нет.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one
Это
who wrote
ведь
the
я его
story.
написал.
It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then.
Может...
It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
Ура!
Let's find the story.
Ищем сюжет. Ага. Мгм. Я... Где
I'll
я?
say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Хулиган какой. Ай, хулиган. Мне нравится его
All of his
голос.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Это ничего не
Stanley
значит, типа
decided to go to the
показалось.
meeting room. Perhaps he
Просьба.
had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
Откуда?
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Хорошо. Она тут была? Хорошо.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't
Можешь
quite
открыть
recall, but I
дверку,
believe my story
пожалуйста?
took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Ура!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel
В
right about
смысле не
this at all.
то?
We both
Я
know
не
you didn't put in
поняла.
any actual work for that win. Some people win
Нормально.
fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded
Становится
out by
неуютно.
whatever
Да,
this place is. I
как
don't care
так?
what might happen this time. I have to restart.
снова перезагрузил.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get
Мы не
lost, I've
потерялись.
employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Хорошо.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of
Это
no
не сюжет?
destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a
Я
minute. Just
отсюда не
stick with me.
пришла.
Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Что? Я испугалась.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Нет, не перезапускай.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something
Давай мы
exciting,
тогда
daring,
откроем
mysterious.
вот эту
This
дверку.
all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in,
Не
well, I don't
почти,
know,
ну
how about
скажем,
this
в этом
direction?
направлении. В каком?
Now, yes, this is
Дополнительно,
exciting. Just
ага.
me and Stanley forging a new path,
Слушай,
a new story.
Тут
Well, it
может
could be
быть
anything.
что
What do you
угодно
want our story to be?
ты хочешь.
Go wild. Use your imagination.
Хочу
Whatever
единорогов,
it might be,
котиков
Stanley,
и
I'm
радугу.
ready for it.
Давай.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our
Нет.
awesome new story. No lines or
Где
monitor
мы?
rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Это мой единорог? Или это котик? Потому что на радугу это вообще не похоже. Я так хотела. И ушла. Представляете?
Ah,
Uh.
a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the
Уверен?
story is in our control. How
Ты
important we mustn't
уверен, что
squander
нам
the opportunity.
тут
In
надо
fact, I believe
было?
I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Хорошо.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting
Что он
from the
несет?
right,
Я не
let's
понимаю.
ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the
Правильно.
door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this?
А,
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Что все
Well, what if I
забудем?
don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on
А
this
если не
thing
забудешь?
wall. Well, who
Любимая
consulted me?
концовка уже.
Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all
Право
of this?
голоса
Is it
просто.
really? No, it can't be.
Потому
I
что
don't
я
want
так
it to be.
сказала. Все,
I don't want
понимаешь?
the game to keep restarting. I
Сюжета
don't want to
не
forget
имеет.
what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this.
Что
I
перезапуск?
won't restart the game. I
Перезапуск.
won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
Наверно.
Whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us?
Короче, смотри.
Something happen?
Когда что-нибудь трясется, то кто-нибудь приходит.
Okay.
Ладно. Мы тут будем
I guess
сидеть, да?
now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite
зачем
sure if we're
просто
in the
ждать? Я не
destination
хочу
or the
ждать.
journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination.
В самой
So I
дороге.
hope that's where we
Нет,
are right now.
я такое не
We'll find out,
слышу.
won't we? Eventually.
Так ведь со временем.
Well, in the
Нет, я не
meantime,
понимаю.
if you
Что? Ты не считаешь
All of his
это...
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Мне кажется, это странно.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Я немного...
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Иду в офис.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah,
Давай,
blah,
чё
blah.
ты-
Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some
да?
buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill
всё-
surprise.
Приз, да. Ты рад? Я тоже рада. Давай проверим. Ко мне едет томатный сок. Ура! Концовка игры. Это как? Вредителя. О. Из-за моих рук меня не было видно. Я там упражнение делала. Не ломайте мне грёбаный лифт, пожалуйста.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
Хорошо.
Facility.
Сегодня я послушная девочка.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Да,
What
вот я
horrible secret did this
помню.
place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Да.
Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors
Почему
jumped to
почти?
life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's
хорошо поняла.
co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
Опа.
eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Хорошо.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't
Я
be true.
запомню твои
Had
слова.
Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his
Спина
emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Прикиньте. Ужас.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Я так стримы, кстати, провожу с закрытыми
But
глазами.
here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
Сердце комплекс.
Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Наконец-то.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Да.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that.
Приложить
I'm
больше
afraid you don't
усилий.
have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's
Что мне
desires.
сделать?
Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won, solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment.
Я просто не
But
понимаю,
here's
что
a
делать.
spoiler for you.
Я...
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you
Я
for
слишком
every moment that
гениальна.
you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to
Ура!
struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you
Ура!
being blown to pieces.
Я встану
Will you take
посередине.
desperately for your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Пока. Хороший конец. Кыся. Ты не пройдешь. А там нету. Ко мне пришел котик. Чат, а у вас есть домашние животные? Больно. А. Кисю, кисюшечка. О, кто? Бархатная Китя. О, вот это я понимаю. Пришел ко мне няшиться. Нясочка, миласочка. Ты будешь сладкая булочка. Муа. Вот так вот лежи, чтобы мне не было больно, и ты полежал. Понежился
All
тут.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to
Не
the
дри
meeting
мне
room.
ногу!
Perhaps he had simply missed the window.
Шлёцкий мой любимый. Я тебя тоже люблю. Но не надо, пожалуйста. Давай, давай. Ладно. Мы...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Нет.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
Да,
perfectly well.
знаю.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the
Вперед.
employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Нет.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not
Ну,
a
хоть меня не
single
до
person
крови
here
поцарапали.
either. Feeling
Спасибо.
a wave of disbelief,
Я рада.
Stanley decided to
Ура.
go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Мне закрыли дверь. Япон.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Спасибо. Угу.
Stanley walked straight
сейчас
ahead
всё
through the
равно
large
прямо
door
идти.
that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Да.
What horrible secret did this place hold?
my gosh.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Спать хочу.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of
там
so
у
many
кого-то
individuals
что-то
reduced to
ядерное в
images on a
коробке.
screen.
Почему
And
оно
Stanley,
светится?
one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ужас.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Сообщаю о том, что у меня будет
No.
новый
He refused to believe
стикер
it. He
на
couldn't
сервере
accept it. His
Дискорда.
own life in someone else's
Представляете?
control?
Сейчас.
Never. It was unthinkable.
Ура!
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life
Да.
utterly blind to the
Я так стримлю
world?
всегда, с закрытыми глазами, чтоб не видеть.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that
Давай, я хочу уйти. Ай.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Да я...
Was it over?
Неужели не будет ничего?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Ужас. Снова это улица.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his
Да я
skin, the
знаю.
feeling of liberation, the
Я
immense possibility of the
почувствовала.
new path before him. This was exactly the way,
Happy,
right now,
happy.
that things were meant to happen.
Happy, happy,
And
happy,
Stanley
happy.
was happy.
А. Я тоже хочу томатный сок, делись.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Угу.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Угу. И куда мне идти?
This was not the correct
Хорошо.
way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Не-а.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone
Все
thinks you
очень
are very
впечатлены.
powerful.
Я рада. А можно мне тут типа...
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you
Hi,
verify that this is
привет.
correct?
Да.
Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Ага. Привет, как твои дела? Расскажи, как твое утро проходит. Нет, прошло. Как твой день? Куда мне идти? За нью-контентом я не пойду. Хотя... За коробками там...
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I
Ah.
have something very exciting to show you.
А я не хотела сюда идти. А? А, точно. Так, что тут у нас? Снова будут картинки? Нет, сразу-то. Давай.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the
Stanley
Stanley Parable
Parable.
and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe
Да.
version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark,
Любые новые
and any
материалы
new
должны были
content for it
держать
should live
план.
up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we
Пойти
take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to
Новая
announce for the
империя.
first time ever the Stanley Parable
Parable
2.
2. Вау. Миленько,
Yes, you
классно.
see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Ну, так-то по фактам.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra
Нет.
Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the
Это прям
Stanley Parable 2,
deluxe.
now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It
О,
screams
как много всего.
progress and innovation
нравится.
and long-term franchising potential.
Да, пока что мне все нравится. Вот. А,
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed
Please,
down
Stanley
what
Parable
exactly
2.
the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
Специально для
I
неё.
figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally
Смысл вокруг
spring up
них.
around them. It'll all work itself
Само
out.
себе
Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
А там по-любому ФНАФ снимают, да? Да по-любому. Который я так до сих пор и не досняла. За все это время. Вы же представляете сейчас?
Here we are.
Я
Go on,
обещала
try out some of the new features.
новые фичи. Я могу прыгать? Я могу носить футболки? У меня появится тело? Нет. Понятно. А это кто? Опа. А там я, походу. Сколько тут всего. Хочу везде побывать. Но сначала туда хочу. Ладно.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself... Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Дай мне нажать на кнопку.
Now, allow yourself to become
Мне...
Jim. Imagine yourself, all right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Он можно там выйти. Я думала, мне тут дверь откроется. Я до сих пор жду вопроса. Пилю чат, но вопросов я не вижу.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable.
Jim'om.
They would appreciate what I've created here.
Хорошо.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Милая Я хочу прыгать. Мне не дают попрыгать. Ладно. Easy. Сколько много. Мире по настроениям. Погнали. Это, кстати, я. Да. Бесконечно, да? Халявное достижение. Блин.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you,
Как
and I
читается
promise it will happen.
твой ник? Я стараюсь часто читать чат, но я как-то слишком глупенькая, короче. Вот. Я Лич. Вот.
What else?
Я
What other
фрукт.
exhibits
Вот.
haven't we seen yet?
Ну, на самом деле я филин, но я фрукт. Представляешь, как все
Okay, I'll be
легко?
honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get
Well,
Well Someday
someday,
and Happy
хочу.
12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Хочу вот это.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Целых 12, племяшка. А можно шарик? Нельзя шарик. Блин. Ну ладно.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Ладно. Там еще какая-то фигурина была. По-моему, черная дыра. А тут что? Вот. Ням-ням.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game.
Еще не
This is in
было.
fact a hole that you can fall
Падать
down forever.
бесконечно.
That's right. Infinite falling.
Бесконечное
You can
падение.
fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Я не хочу туда прыгать. Ладно. Уи!
Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the
Бесконечную
infinite
дыру.
hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great! Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Давай. Ну, по-моему, бесконечная труба это как-то, не знаю. Что будут думать люди, когда они будут туда падать? Когда это закончится? Лично я бы думала только так. Кто мне пишет? Кто это тут такой? That's new. Нет, там эта комната. What is this? What is this?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Угу. Понятно. А там что? Ну-ка. Коллекционная халяна. Достижение бесконечная дыра.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Капец. Мне надо туда идти. Меня напрягает эта музыка. Прям не знаю. Одна из 6. Хорошо.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for
Настоящий
it.
приз. Полный
Absolutely
кошмар.
tragic.
Так. Я тут, получается... Нет, слишком сложно.
Oh goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay?
Ладно.
All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Вот это да.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well,
Да.
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You
Успокаивающее
see,
ведро.
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting.
Самое
You
приятное
may even
ведро,
come to long
которое я
for the
когда-либо
gentle embrace
видела.
of jarring
Честное
cognitive
слово.
dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
О май гаш. Мне дают попробовать ведро.
Can you feel it? The
Да.
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of
Своего
charisma as well?
обаяния.
I think that just
Ого.
holding it has made you the slightest
Ой,
bit more
нифига не
attractive as a
прикосила.
person.
Прикиньте?
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't
О май
they?
гаш.
All
Как
this
много
and more
эмоций.
await you in the Stanley Parable
И
2.
ведь это еще не... О. Да. Вообще.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That
Да.
really should be an award if it isn't
Я выдаю.
already.
Там закрыто. Как вам ведро, чат? Как вам ведро? Ща тут. Блин, немного не влезла. Даже для ведра я слишком большая. Да, меня тоже успокаивает. Блин. Знаете, как надо сделать? Оп. Нормально. Опа. Что это за сумка? А?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Да.
Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Версия вторая.
Who am I
Не
kidding,
то.
Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted
Давай.
more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted
Что-нибудь
fans to love it.
вкусное,
No matter
что-нибудь
how good these
красивое.
gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the
Да.
original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it.
Со вкусом,
Tastefully, of
разумеется.
course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it
Ага.
could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead.
Давай.
Take a look.
Что? А... Что мне делать? Хорошо.
This is the story of a man. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ладно.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The
Нет.
broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Забирай.
I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it
Меня
must be,
забулили.
given the pressure that the broom closet... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to
Два,
discover
восемь,
not an
четыре,
indication of
пять.
any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire,
Что?
if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Нет, там была фигурка. Блин. Как я могла ее пропустить?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the
Как
bucket.
я могу ее
Soothing
подобрать?
him, comforting him,
Как он это
reassuring that in
сделает?
this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
3. Какая кнопка 3? Ура! Получилось. Понятно.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
А еще я хочу спать. Миленько, да? Здесь... Опа.
A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
А жизнь
screens.
ведра будет?
What horrible secret did this
Тут
place
должно-
hold?
тут должна быть
Stanley and the
жизнь
bucket
ведра.
both wondered to themselves.
Иначе я играю здесь зря.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be
Вот
fine.
вот. Нет, чирит это другое.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Ай. Вот не представляете, так давно хотела чихнуть, а не могла. Ух.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
У меня шок. Простите, девочки, я в шоке.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided...
Хорошо.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait, what was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least
игра
he
слишком
has
умная
the
для меня.
bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Я в шоке. Угу.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Как думаете, стоит взять ведро? Снова. Мне кажется, это...
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd... Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
А если я поеду на этом? Снова. Меня снова туда же... Да, меня снова привезли сюда.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
Ура!
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
Спасибо.
You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Ту-ту-ту-ту-ту-ту-ту-ту-ту-ту.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently. But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his
Миленько.
fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here.
Долго.
So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was inconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Снова. Снова это все.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform.
Я уже не знаю, что мне
Good
находить.
job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
А можно упасть на ведро? Ладно, нет.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Да.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Another miniature Stanley figurine.
Ура!
You know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or
Статуэтка.
Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Куда мне теперь? Опа. Опа, ча-ча.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that... You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Ну какой мостик?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it's true. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Я туда не пойду. Ладно.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Да.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Что?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Настоящее ведро у меня. Вот, все.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Что?
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Да.
Correct. This is a tractor
Блин.
and not a bucket. To be
Да,
honest, I just sort
конечно.
of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Давай. Ща. По фактам тебя уделаю.
Is this a bucket?
Да, это ведро.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Что? Я говорила.
Item 6.
Да.
Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Что?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
Да.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Да, что это ведро?
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out.
Это правильный ответ.
I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago, I could answer these questions with confidence.
Ща, в
And yet
автобусе.
now I'm somewhat adrift.
Ура,
Do any of us
автобус.
know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this.
Ты ведро.
I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear
Да,
our relationship
предлагаю
apart.
его
I can't
выкинуть.
have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Ура!
Here we go.
Давай. Ура! Ведер нету.
Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Потому что все
was
ведра.
everything a bucket?
Да,
Every single thing in the game was a bucket.
да.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Надо было думать.
Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And
Жалко,
you, Stanley,
конечно.
you're still here. You're not a
Блин,
bucket
я
either.
тоже не ведро.
No, this is wonderful news. We're
Ну
not
да, по
buckets.
факту.
Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's
Тебе просто
delightful to get some clarity
повезло,
on that
что я не
issue,
ведро.
but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what,
Да,
I'll reset
забрасывай.
everything, and we'll put back all of the buckets,
Ой,
okay? And we'll
классно!
know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that
Помогите.
information might do to a person? All
У меня
right,
даже
here
точки
we go.
не двигаются. Собаки поверх каких-то чуриков. Так, короче, смотрите.
All of his
Ща будет.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Да пофиг
Stanley
на коллег.
decided to go to the meeting room. Warmth spread through Stanley's eyes.
Я собираюсь
With the bucket in his
прыгать.
arms again, he was home.
Ничто меня не остановит. А? А.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to
Как
him,
ведро
telling him that the
зовет
employee
и тянет
lounge
его
was
в
simply the
комнату
place to
отдыха.
be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Да.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
But Stanley feared that any path he
Нет.
walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest
Нет.
friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Я думала, как в прошлый раз меня ведро спасет. Ведро оказалось не спасет. Прикиньте! Ужас! Пум-пум-пум-пум-пум-пум.
All of his
Сегодня
co-workers
без
were
ведра.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Нет,
meeting room.
Олежек.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
Не.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley
Я
was
хочу,
so
чтобы он
bad at following
прыгал, а он
directions, it's
прыгает
incredible he
только
wasn't
кругом.
fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Да.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small
Моё
number in
имя.
the corner of your screen go up
Опишите
by
его,
one?
Личи.
Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Не придет.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Мгм.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Хорошо.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time?
В следующий
problem
раз
is
я
all
пойду
these
в синюю.
choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
А,
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
я не хочу останавливаться.
And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ура!
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just
Что
stay
это?
right here, right in this moment with this
О май
place,
гаш.
Stanley,
Можно
I think
обратно?
I feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
Ой, не знаю, я тебя не слушала. Но почему-то они собираются надо мной. Даже спрыгнуть я не могу, прикинь. Чей? Надеюсь, оно взорвется. Потому что... Ладно, пофиг.
No. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Погнали.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Хорошо. Все? Ты доволен? Ладно. Мне придется убить себя. Уи! Да!
Oh, thank God you lived. No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Хорошо, я не буду. Ой, они красными стали.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can.
Я
If we stop moving,
несчастлива.
we just have to stop moving.
Я несчастлива. Что делать? Пойду ломать себя дальше.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Получится. Ты не понимаешь.
Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Я бы пошла, но прости меня, пожалуйста.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw
Нет,
yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
нет. Я хочу, чтобы ты был счастлив. Ну за что? За что? Так. Ужас.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Нет, я тебя не понимаю. Ладно. Все-таки пора валить, да? Ой, ужас какой. Я реально разревусь.
No, perhaps not.
Нет. Надо. Прости, пожалуйста.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It
Бывает.
looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Чего? Проблемы личия это просто ужас.
Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Нет.
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Прости меня, рассказчик, пожалуйста.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Блин, обидно. Ужас. Ну-ка, сейчас.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door. Just go.
Что ж. Понятно.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Ну, к сожалению, мне уже надо заканчивать стрим. Ужас. Представляете? Ой. Прикольно. Капец. Ну, в принципе, игра мне понравилась. Ну вот единственное, это типа мне стало жалко этого челика в конце. Я прям, не знаю, растрогалась. Вот. Ну, как бы... не пон. Ща. Я заблудилась. О, теперь норм. Ну, давайте. Всем удачи, всем пока, мои хорошие, мои любимые. Целую, люблю, обнимаю. Пока.